I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. Be nice to me, today's my birthday, so I'm 38.
How many times you been 38?
Couple. Let's see. Any questions on the agenda?
How about on the, no, not on the agenda.
All right, how about the consent agenda? Go ahead.
Well, my question has to do with the calculators, and this has been a routine thing for us over the years. Approximately how many calculators do we buy a year?
It varies wildly.
I could imagine it would, but, you know, not, some kind of ballpark thing. 'Cause it can be several dollars, or it can, I'm sure it's several dollars every year.
Any other questions on the consent agenda? Wouldn't that to be all the time?
I guess, did you guys notice we put the sport that the volunteer coaches would be coaching on there?
Go ahead, Doug.
Lease agreement with Smyrna Parks and Recreation, that's a piece of property behind the school.
Yes, sir.
We've had it now for some time.
Yes.
Any other questions? Don, you studying something down there, or you just?
Yeah, I studied
Number 6 is zoning appeals. You've all got the information on that, so we'll discuss that on Thursday night. Follow-up status, I assume that's gonna be on Thursday night also?
Yes.
So I guess we go.
Excuse me, Rick.
Yes, sir.
Bother you again. Oakland Middle School, I had a question I asked you. I'd like to address this to Mr. Clardy. When we started the construction at the middle school, I guess all of us envisioned that the school would be somewhat at the level of the street, but we got started and it's down below the street level. Not uncomfortable with that, but then I see us moving lots of dirt and rock and things in the rear of that property, and I'm concerned that, you know, why we didn't move some of that up front and raise the building? What's it costing us to move the rocks and dirt at the rear of the property?
We bid that as an unclassified soil project, which means the contractor is responsible for all of that dirt, for getting rid of it, using what he needs to, and get rid of anything that's left. A lot of the spoils that are on that site are not very good compactable soils. Plus, a lot of the other stuff that was generated by all the blasting we've done, getting in storms, replacing it with the required gravel and stuff for beds and different things. So a lot of it that came out of the ditches didn't go back in. Plus, the term cutter is used for large limestone rocks that are not really suitable. If you noticed, you probably saw a huge amount of large stones that may be 8 feet long and 4 feet round. They don't blast very well. We took a lot of those stones and chopped them up and put them through a mill back there and ground them up and used them on the parking lot. What we had left is moved down in along that creek down there. You see us moving it down there. If you recall, when Pittard School was built up there, for months you saw large, massive quantities of that stuff on site. As a matter of fact, down within the last couple of months of the job, they moved it off the site. We were faced with a similar situation as they were up there. We basically built on the level that it was and generated the rest of that by all the lines that were dug out, all the cutters that came out of the ground when we were blasting for lines, that type of stuff.
So I guess bottom line, we haven't increased the cost of the construction project greatly. It was just absorbed by that's just the cost of doing business for R.G. Anderson.
That's correct.
And if they'd have raised the elevation of the building, it would have been substantial.
Yes, it would have. That was one of the factors that,
And ultimately, we had, like, when we had the rains a few weeks back, I mean, we didn't have any drainage issues, did we?
now, we had a little bit of water come through there, but it left the site quickly and no more problem than we had at other locations.
Mr. Blair?
Mr. Gill took my first part of the question. My second, what kind of rainfall did we have in Murfreesboro on the northern end of the county? Smyrna Airport registered 17.1 inches.
We had 4 inches at Whitworth Buchanan on Saturday and 4 inches on Sunday. So it was a total for that area of that, and we had about the same thing or maybe a little more over in the Oakland area.
Thank you.
There wasn't anything close to flooding there though, was it?
No.
Any other questions? Number 9, we're gonna do that today, or we're gonna,
I'd say we do it Thursday.
financial matters.
Financial matters, 2010, 2011 general purpose budget with debt service account changes. The 2010, 2011 general purpose budget reflects the changes that have been made to the account numbers used to record the interest and principal payments for the Energy Efficient Schools Initiative notes payable. This change only affects the account numbers, not the amounts of the payments. And we recommend that you approve changing the account numbers used to record the interest and principal payment for the Energy Efficient Schools Initiative notes payable as presented.
Questions? B,
General purpose budget amendments. 1, revenues and transfer to federal funds. This amendment addresses cleaning up the budgeted 2009-2010 revenues, increases the general purpose school fund balance by $500,000 and decreases transfers to other funds by the same $500,000. We have been able to handle the timing issues in funding our federal projects with $500,000 instead of the $1 million that was originally amended. In the revenue amendments, the revenue increases offset revenue decreases except for an additional $20,500 in recent donations. The $20,500 in expenditures related to the donation are the only expenditure increases. Recommend that we increase the general purpose school fund balance by $500,000 and decreases transfers to other funds by the same $500,000 to amend an additional $20,500 in recent donations and the related expenditures and to amend other revenue accounts as presented.
questions? Two, substitutes.
This amendment cleans up the budgeted 2009-2010 expenditures for substitute teachers by moving a total of $395,995 in already budgeted funds for substitute. No new funds are involved. Existing budgeted funds are being moved between the two object codes for substitute teachers, 369 for certified and 370 for non-certified, and to the major functions where the expenditures have been incurred. Recommend that you amend a total of $395,995 in already budgeted funds for substitute teachers as presented.
Any questions?
Other expenditures. This amendment reallocates already budgeted non-labor expenditures throughout the 2009-2010 general purpose school budget. A total of $740,911 in expenditures is affected, and an additional $47,789 in state reimbursement revenue for testing expenditure offsets part of the $90,500 in the evaluation and testing line item, 71320-322. The other major changes covered in this amendment are $179,851 for additional unemployment compensation, $155,000 for portable moves and higher mowing cost, $110,000 for custodial material and supplies. Most of the other amendments reallocate non-labor line items within major functions. Recommended to amend an additional $47,789 in state reimbursement revenue for testing expenditures and to reallocate $740,911 in other expenditures as presented.
Question?
Not so much this item, but where do we stand with moving portables? I went by Buchanan School the other day, and I noticed 2 of them up on trailers ready to be moved. Will all of those be gone? And where do we stand at our other schools?
Go ahead, Gary, give me an update.
Those are gone now, all of them are gone. And, matter of fact, most sites are cleaned up. We're in the process of building decks on those at other locations, and they're loading. I don't know exactly which school they're at right now, but, the process is going along very well. We're probably doing a little better this year than we have in past years.
Could we, at some point before schools reopen, get a report on which schools will have portables for the fall and how many and
We
that
actually
kind of
already
thing?
have it, but yes, matter of fact, we'll have it for you by Thursday night. But if you want us to do a report at the meeting so the public knows, I'll be happy to do that too.
I think it would be well for the public to hear where we were at one time on portables and where we will be this fall on portables.
Well, we've done well. We've only purchased 10 in the last 7 years, despite picking up almost 10,000 people. So I think that,
Will that
that's-
include, I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr.
Go ahead, Mr.
Will that include the entire number of portables that we have? And are there any portables that won't be in use for,
no, we're using all portables. Matter of fact, there were a few requests beyond what we moved, and Mr. Odom and I always work directly with the principal to see if we can find a way to just make it work. And in almost every case, they have sacrificed, but at the end of the day, it keeps us from having to go back and buy more portables. But everything's in use.
yes, sir, thank you.
Any other questions? Let's see.
Centralized Cafeteria Fund 143 budget amendment. This amendment adjusts the 2009-2010 centralized cafeteria budget, Fund 143. Revenues are being reduced by $464,725, and operating expenditures are being decreased by $230,000. This is a very conservative amendment since the May year-end adjustments and summer feeding program are still being reviewed. Recommend that you amend the 2009-2010 centralized cafeteria budget fund 143 as presented.
Question? Moving facilities.
Oakland High School Eagle Scout gazebo project, Principal Bill Spurlock of Oakland High School has submitted a request to construct a gazebo at the school on behalf of Scott Griffin Ford to assist with Griffin's Eagle Scout certification. Griffin will construct the gazebo in the grassy area between the CDC classroom and the new CDC greenhouse. The floor shape of the gazebo will be a 6-sided polygon, approximately 9 feet by 9 feet 6 inches from one point to point, and constructed of pressure-treated lumber at no cost to Rutherford County School Board. Griffin will comply with all state and local codes, and the Rutherford County Schools and Engineering Department will inspect the project regularly for compliance and specifications. And recommended you approve construction of the gazebo by Scout Griffin Ford at Oakland High School to assist with Eagle Scout certification at no cost to the board.
Question? B.
Siegel Middle School canopy. Principal Tom Delbridge at Siegel Middle School has requested permission to construct a metal canopy over the existing fenced concrete pad adjacent to the school's main boiler area. He currently stores lawn and sports equipment in this area and is in need of a canopy to protect the equipment from the weather. The proposed canopy is approximately 19 feet by 26 feet with a sloped roof and estimated to cost approximately $3,400. School will fund the canopy at no cost for Rutherford County School Board. Recommended to approve construction of a 19 by 26-foot canopy at Siegel Middle School at no cost to the board.
Question? 12, revised
Should we
policy.
just read these Thursday night? Or we'll read them tonight and Thursday?
Why don't you read them tonight, and then they'll, we'll do them Thursday night, but just so that people have an idea of what the policies are.
Okay, we actually had a policy meeting, last week, ain't Ms. McLeod? We had a policy meeting last week to discuss these policy changes, and they are as follows. A, revision of policy 5.117, tenure, and the purpose is to add language requiring a tenured teacher who resigns to serve a one-year probationary period under reemployment. This revision is required by state law. B, revision of policy 5.200, separation practices for tenured teachers. Purpose, to add language giving a tenured teacher who has received notice of dismissal charges to request a hearing before an impartial hearing officer appointed by the board. This revision is required by state law. C, revision of policy 6.406, student psychological services. Purpose, to add language indicating school personnel may not conduct mental health screenings. This revision is required by law. D, revision of policy 6.50, special ed students. Purpose, to add language restricting restraints for students receiving special education services except as permitted by law. This revision is required by state law. E, revision of policy 6.405, medicines. Purpose, to clarify that all medicines are to be delivered to the administration. F, revision of policy 2.702, inventories. Purpose, to add the definition of sensitive minor equipment. This revision was required by federal auditors. G, revision of policy 6.402, physical examination and immunizations. Purpose is to clarify those students who are required to have medical exam must have completed the medical exam within 1 year of enrollment and/or participation in the athletic teams or activities. To delete the section of the policy requiring the student's health record to be filed at the school nurse's office. A portion of the health record, immunizations, is kept in the student's cumulative file. And H, revision of policy 5.201, separation practices for tenured teachers. Purpose, to change the date by which non-tenured teachers must be notified of contract non-renewal from April the 15th to May 15th. This revision is required by state law. And we recommend that you approve the revision of policy 5.117, 5.200, 6.406, 6.500, 6.405, 2.702, 6.402, and 5.201 on first reading as presented and recommended by the policy committee.
Any questions on any of those? The reason I kind of want Mr. Gill to read them over again is so that, to refresh your memory, and we'll do those all at one time Thursday night unless someone has one that they want to pull out. But most of those are just required by state law anyway, so there's not much we can change if we wanted to. General discussion of board members. Blair?
I thought I saw in the paper that the random drug testing was passed by the House and the Senate for extracurricular activities. I don't know that it's been signed by the governor. Did anybody else see that? I assume that they will have some kind of protocol, or I think at one time we had that option, or the county systems had that option. Will we go back to that protocol, or have they developed something new? And
I think I saw what you saw, but Angel, do you know, can you expand on what Blair's talking about?
I think you'll still have the option.
Oh, okay.
Would we do that through policy or something, I guess, or set up a
You
policy?
can, if you choose to use the drug screening practice, then you'd like to have a policy.
Has the governor signed it?
When I got the email, I don't think it had been signed yet. It has been a week ago, maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any Any other discussion? Adjourned.